My followers, fans, subscribers, friends have asked me to break down what is happening for them. Indeed, there's so much happening in the country of late. What with the political formations, meetings of politicians, some of the formations called Face of Kenya, and so on and so forth. The president coming out blasting, openly criticizing his deputy president. The deputy president answering back the president. One will be forgiven for thinking Kenya has become a madhouse. Indeed, we seem to be one huge, big madhouse. So much is happening. But the one I isolate this morning to talk about is the entry of Mukhisa Kituyi into Kenyan politics. Like many people, I too has been taken aback, almost surprised at the reception accorded to Mukhisa Kituyi. Dr. Mukhisa Kituyi is not a small man, but the reaction, the reception, the attention seems to be way beyond what his stature would attract. This has left many people wondering. Indeed, many of the people who have asked me to talk about this thing are intrigued and they really want to find out. This Mukhisa Kituyi man, why is he attracting so much attention? So this morning, I address myself to that issue to share with Kenyans. My interest in Mukhisa Kituyi is not that he can be or cannot be a president. Indeed, he does qualify. My interest this morning is what his entry has exposed about our politics, about our leaders, about those who seek to lead this country. It is also an opportunity for Kenyans to do soul searching. First, the Mukhisa Kituyi entry has exposed our leaders, especially those who seek to lead, for who they are. Actually, because of Mukhisa Kituyi, you can see the emptiness, the bankruptcy of ideas in most of our leaders. When you juxtapose Mukhisa Kituyi with most of these people who want to lead us, they simply melt into wannabes. Mukhisa Kituyi has breathed fresh air into the political scene, exposing the charlatans around for who they really are. Mukhisa Kituyi shows that this country must force itself into changing the way they look at leadership, specifically in the way they elect leaders. Dr. Mukhisa Kituyi's entry challenges Kenyans to move away from the traditional and destructive way of identifying their leaders. We have hitherto identified our leaders by what we come to call development conscious leaders. The men and women who throw money in our faces, money they have already stolen from us. These are the people we celebrate and elect to leadership. Mukhisa Kituyi's entry forces Kenyans to have a real look at that. We have always thought a man or a woman who deserves our attention as a Kenyan must have bags and bags of money. Mukhisa Kituyi has again exposed that. That indeed we should begin looking for leaders without the consideration of how rich they are. Dr. Mukhisa Kituyi's entry, the man from Kimilili, or is it Kiminini, one of those, has exposed us for who we are. That beyond the tribe, we never seem to consider that somebody can lead. That Ekuru Aukot at Turkana can lead this country. That Mungatana, Mulamamba, Apokomo, a minority tribe, should be considered for leadership of this country. We never look beyond the Luo, the Kikuyu, the Kalenjin, the Kamba, and the Luya. Mukhisa Kituyi does not come on a Luya platform. So his entry into Kenyan politics gets me a little excited about the possibility of Kenyans being forced, being challenged into looking at politics afresh. Because Dr. Mukhisa Kituyi's entry, again, exposes our leaders, like I've said, as men and women who beyond tribe and money bring nothing on the table. Nothing. Look at the hustler, for example. He thinks the best way to attract Kenyans is to point at the problems. Look, the youth have no jobs. Blame Uhuru Kenyatta. Look, the big four have been shelved. Blame Uhuru Kenyatta. Look, in the first term, Kenyatta and I did work. Look, coffee. Look at tea. Look at milk. All these sectors that are dear to you in Mount Kenya have failed. Blame Uhuru Kenyatta. That in the first term, milk and honey was flowing in Mount Kenya, whether it's true or not. But the traditional age-long strategy of trying to get to power by identifying a man on whom to blame all the problems and sufferings of the people. That is what the hustlers are using. Everything, all the problem, unemployment, people going to bed hungry, a failed and collapsed public health system. All this blame on Uhuru Kenyatta. But look, very long on the complaints, very long on identifying the problems, but so short that if it was somewhere else, one should be worried. So short in solutions. So when you juxtapose, when you put Mukhisa Kituyi side by side, the little I have listened to him and the little I know of him, when you put Mukhisa Kituyi offering solutions, then you look at the hustler, lamentation and complaint. Then you begin to see the kind of thinking this country needs to go to. Mukhisa Kituyi talks about the economy. He offers solutions to these problems in a manner that makes Mudavadi look like a kindergarten child or a primary school kid trying to read issues on the economy. Because beyond saying economy number one, economy number two, economy number three, Mudavadi does not move a step further. Beyond citing his early experience at the Treasury, he doesn't seem to come out with solutions. Beyond blaming the country for external debt, he does not show he understands why the country is borrowing and how you can mitigate the disaster of excessive borrowing. So Mukhisa Kituyi comes with the freshness. He brings some intellectual power on the political scene, some intellectual thought that convinces a Kenyan that if we are to get out of the current mess we are in, we will need a man or a woman. It doesn't have to be Mukhisa Kituyi. Get me right. I'm not saying Mukhisa Kituyi, but I'm saying he represents the kind of Kenyan we might begin to have in mind when we are identifying who a leader in this country will be. A man or a woman like Mukhisa Kituyi, who brings the problem on one hand, shows he understands those problems because he analyzes them with the intellectual and the philosophical depth that leaves no doubt in the mind that here is a chap who understands our problems beyond blames. He then brings some solutions to show how what looks like a big challenge to Kenyans can melt away when the right man and woman is at State House and brings his training and experience to bear, and the process will produce a leader really who can take Kenya forward. Mukhisa Kituyi shows how we can tap into the international community, into local resources, how we can create the right political atmosphere And the nexus between these three is what this country may need to move forward. So yes, while I do not campaign for Mukhisa Kituyi, he doesn't know me. We have had a chat maybe once. But he challenges us to begin looking at the kind of leader who will take this country to the next level. But why that may be so at a personal level, for Dr. Mukhisa Kituyi, there are one or two things you will also need to do if he has to be a serious presidential candidate. One, mind the company you keep. I have said tribe is our undoing. Do not again run to the tribe, important as it is, and with a poor understanding and interpretation of what all politics is local means. Don't fall in that trap. Two, you will have to tame your arrogance, Mukhisa Kituyi. I understand that arrogance. I come from a community of intellectuals. There is what we call professorial arrogance. But you see, you are not at the university. You must tame your arrogance, because that could destroy your ambition. Number three, Mukhisa Kituyi. Bishop Hamala from Kakamega said, Mukhisa endangi kwa matanga. Mukhisa endangi kwa matanga. Akija muulize 1,000 sio 200. You will have to touch base with the ground. There are those who have said that if Mukhisa Kituyi stood against my friend Dr. Simiyu Eseli in Tongareni, he would not win. Others have made it even worse. They have said if Mukhisa Kituyi stood for MCA, he would lose. While that may not necessarily be true, it is a pointer to the kind of challenges intellectuals like Mukhisa Kituyi, the men and women we need for this country to move forward, will have to find a way of touching the ground. Because the charlatans who go into power, the demagogues who get power, understand the ground well. They understand the things they have to say. They understand the wheelbarrow. They understand the piga line, mpate 50-50. That gives them power, but it leaves Kenya the poorer. My advice to people like Mukhisa Kituyi, do not allow such a demagogues to destroy the future of our children and the grandchildren, merely because they know how to get to the people. Be up there, but also get down. Talk to leaders like Raila Odinga, who are both intellectual and grounded. Study them. Understand, after all, Mukhisa Kituyi, you are not a stranger to politics. I know, like Wangari Maathai, God rest her soul, Kenyans rarely celebrate their heroes. Many Kenyans do not understand the role of Mukhisa Kituyi, for example, and other Kenyans, like Koigi Wamwere. The role these men played in the second liberation, sometimes at great personal risk and sacrifices. So yes, Mukhisa Kituyi, welcome to the political scene. If you ever became president, I can go to bed knowing that Kenya will be in safe hands.